Ladies, can you imagine your past coming to bite you in the Rutendo is a 30-year-old woman, and quite frankly, all her life, she had dreamed of the soft life. From the moment she was in university, she decided that she's not going to use her university degree for any better thing. She wants to marry rich, she wants a lot of money, she wants to travel. That was her goal. So she made sure not to put her heart into any attachments. While she was in the University of Zimbabwe, she spent all her time flirting and dating rich boys and cultivating that lifestyle. And by the time she had graduated, she went on to rich older men. By the time she was 25, she already had acquired a 4-bedroom house and 2 saloon cars, living her best life. But she continued because she wanted more. And by the time she was 28, she had found and married a 73-year-old millionaire man. At that point, she truly felt that she had reached the peak of her life. 28, rich, living a housewife life. What more could she ask for? Until 6 months later, the millionaire suddenly of a heart attack, supposedly. And Rutendo was left with all his inheritance. By the time Rutendo was 30, she had decided that, you know what, she's ready to find a real husband, get married, have kids, settle down. She was ready with all of that. She had her money. What more could she ask for? So she decided to change her life. She started going to church, and at church is where she met Kuriwa. Kuriwa was a 40-year-old businessman and lawyer who spent a lot of time at church and was very devoted. Him and Rutendo built a beautiful relationship. They were very open, very transparent, and Kuriwa shared that, his father had abandoned him before he was even born. His mother unfortunately passed 2 years after his birth. As they were discussing their lives, Kuriwa mentioned that though his mother, whilst he was young, he had a strong connection to her, to the point that he got her name tattooed on his arm, Ruvembo. So he understands that, not everybody's story is pretty, but he loves Rutendo and he doesn't care about her past. And as long as she loves him and they can build this future together, that is all they need. Rutendo was happy. Everything was going well. And eventually, Kuriwa asked her to marry him. At this point, Rutendo's life is perfect. She is married, she has a loving husband, she has money. Everything is going so well. So they start to want to work towards building a family. 3 years later, nothing happens. At this point, they think one of them is the problem. So they start visiting fertility clinics in Harare, everywhere, constantly, continuously, and nothing is working. By the 5th year of marriage and 5th year of still not having kids, Rutendo is growing desperate. Kuriwa is angry, he's relentless, he's frustrated, and he's threatening to leave Rutendo. Through it all, Rutendo says she must find a solution. Until one random day, one of her friends sends her a Zoom link. It says, this is a prayer meeting, join it. There's a prophetess on there who's connected to God. She might be able to help you. Considering that Rutendo has tried everything and she has no solution yet, and medicine is not helping, her own prayers is not helping, she was like, you know what, let me give this prophetess a chance. So she joins this Zoom meeting link, and the prophetess introduces herself as Prophetess Gosalin. She prays with Rutendo and they start discussing. And the prophetess says, Rutendo, I am seeing that there was a man called George who was married to a woman called Shelly. George started cheating on his wife with a younger woman, and though Shelly had caught him numerous times, he consistently denied it and even gaslit her into thinking she was crazy. Eventually, George divorced Shelly in their old age and instead married his young side chick. Shelly, heartbroken, was left without any money, was completely destitute, and eventually moved to a village in a different country. Turns out the side chick was Rutendo. So she informed Rutendo that, my darling, you are going to have to seek forgiveness from this lady Shelly. Her bitterness and her sorrow from her divorce is what is causing you to have all these issues in your own marriage. That's bad luck that you caused her, ruining her life. It has come back to you. So you need to seek forgiveness and atone for your mistakes. In her desperation and shock, Rutendo said, you know what, it's true. I was the cause of this lady's problems. I ruined her life and I took her husband's money and her inheritance and everything came to me. So let me find her and seek forgiveness. After several weeks of searching, Rutendo finally found the lady Shelley in a small village in Muchinga, Zambia. So she packed her things and went to visit. Upon arrival, she fell to her feet before Shelley and begged her for mercy. She cried, blubbering, saying, "I'm so sorry. I was the side chick. I'm the one who married your husband all those years ago. I ruined your life. I just want to apologize and atone for my sins of what I did to you and your family." Shelley is an old woman and did not want to carry any more bitterness in her heart. So she told Rutendo, "I forgive you." So thinking that all her problems are solved, Rutendo went back home. And you know what? Her problems were solved. Sort of, kind of, in a way. She got back with Kudiwa and, they started trying and she got pregnant. But she wasn't able to keep the child. 3 times she suffered a miscarriage. And by the 3rd time, Rutendo said, nah. Clearly, what I'm going through has not yet been fixed. So she contacts Prophetess Gosaline again and says, "Look, it worked, but it didn't work. There's still something holding me back from carrying my children to term. Help me." So again, Prophetess Gosaline prays on her and says, there is apparently more. There is still somebody on this earth whose life was destroyed by your presence and by this millionaire old man George's presence. Exasperated, Rutendo again looks to Lady Shelley and says, "Look, Madam, please, is there anybody else that may have been affected by me taking their inheritance? I know you don't have children, but does he have a secret child or something?" And Shelley says, "You know what? Before Shelley and George got married, George had an affair with a lady and she was pregnant. And Shelley told him that he should choose between this side chick and the pregnancy or choose Shelley. George chose Shelley. So that lady went on with her life, had the child, and there was no contact between them. So she told Rutendo, find the child or find the side chick and maybe you have the answers you are looking for. I will write the last known address of the woman. I heard she's but you might be able to find the child. So on a paper, she writes the last known address of this mysterious lady and hands it to Rutendo. After her long journey, Rutendo goes back to Kudiwa and says, look, this is the situation we're currently in. There's a child out there. I need to find it, and there might be a solution to our problem. The address seemed slightly familiar. It was a location in Midlands. As Kudiwa and Rutendo are discussing this address and this location, they realize that on the back of the paper, Shelley had written a name, Ruvembo. Noticing that the Ruvembo written on the paper is the same as the tattoo on Kudiwa's arm, Rutendo started to put the dots together. Kudiwa's father had abandoned him. Kudiwa had been mad at the lady that his father ran off with and the woman who took all his inheritance from him, despite him being the technical heir. In that moment, Kudiwa looked up at Rutendo and said, are you trying to tell me that you had a relationship with my father when you took his inheritance and you are currently standing in front of me as my wife? In that moment, all hell broke loose. In his anger, Kudiwa stood up, packed his bags, sat in his car and drove off. It's been 6 months. Kudiwa has no interest or regard in Rutendo. He wants nothing to do with her. And to make matters worse, legally, Rutendo is his stepmother. Now that's an entangled web. And that's all we've got for you today. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube at Entangled Web Stories to catch more videos. And I'll see you in the next one.